Hey guys, I'm hanging out in a coffee shop this morning. Spring has left the area. It's about 30 degrees and blowing sideways, so getting some work done inside. Now, last weekend I went to visit Mike from Oxford 821. That's a great channel he has as he works on his property. He's filming everything and he has a really cool channel there. We're going to go over his whitetail habitat layout. Two things that he accomplished on his property was to plant a corn food plot with minimal equipment. It's really interesting how he got that done successfully. And we also are going to check out his fruit orchard that he planted using NRCS funds. We're going to make a homestead out of this place, and I'm going to help him plan for fencing, watering facilities for cattle. He's got some great deer habitat on the property. He's shooting some beautiful bucks there, and look forward to more on this property. We're going to start working on it here pretty soon. So check it out and enjoy the video.
All right, so what is this? About 2 acres here?
This cornfield right here is just an acre. It's from the bottom to
An
the
acre?
top. And what it was just the side of the hill down to the flat pasture area. So it's like a buffer zone between the woods and the fields. And what I did is, because it's on a side slope, I don't have like a big tractor or tiller or anything like that. I just came in and I sprayed Roundup with my buggy and I killed all the brush and the weeds. And then when it was dead, I came in and mowed it. And then after I got it down to where it was just dirt, I got a chain drag from Tractor Supply, and I just went back and forth with a chain drag. And all it did was loosen up the very top of the soil just a little bit. It just scratched that surface. And then the first year, I think I planted like buckwheat and soybeans, just easy things that would grow easy. And boom, it all came right up, waist high. It was beautiful. And then last year, I did the same thing, but I bought like a little 4-foot disc.
So the first crop was a cover crop.
Yes, yes.
To sort of build up some
Yep.
phosphorus and nitrogen.
Yep.
Now, did you fertilize the corn?
I put down lime, pelletized lime, and some fertilizers like triple 10 or triple 19. And then after I loosened it up with the chain drag, I came in and I broadcast the seeds. This year, for this past hunting season, I did the same thing with this. This cornfield was done with broadcasting with Forestry.
How many pounds did you put on?
I put in, this is probably 100 pounds.
So it's kind of a double dose of corn.
Yeah, I put it down. I put it down so heavy it was a mistake because you could see
It got a little too thick.
It's too thick. It's a tangled mess. When it was corn, you couldn't walk through it. Now, I was 10, 12 foot tall
No
when
way.
it was up, but you couldn't walk through it. It was so thick because I didn't have
So
any
if you would have
roots.
told me you were going to do that, I would have told you, don't even bother, it won't work. But you proved me wrong.
I'll tell you, and everyone's surprised. And the deer were in, you could see like these corn cobs. It grew, and
It made a decent cob.
It made it okay.
It's not huge, but
Yeah, but they were in here. They're still coming in here. They're still pecking around through here.
nothing wrong with that cob.
But yeah, this was all done by hand broadcasting the corn. After I put the corn seed down, I went back over it.
Dragged it.
And,
Or
yep.
now, did you run it in with the disc harrow?
Yes, this year because
So
it was
it got
corn,
a little deeper.
It got a little deeper than a chain drag. Yeah, I have a little 4-foot
And
disc.
then that was it.
That's it.
You didn't call the packet or nothing.
Nothing. Don't need any of that. You don't.
Well, it depends on your
yeah,
soil.
the results. and
This
the
soil is pretty interesting. You don't have any rock to deal with, and apparently it's pretty productive.
Yeah.
Lots of moisture.
Yeah, and I have a second cornfield, which we're going to get to in a little bit, which is twice as big as this, that I did the same way.
Well, maybe I'll try it.
Yeah, I'm convinced you don't need to have like really heavy duty.
And you didn't really need to put 100 pounds on. You probably could have gotten away with like
Yeah,
60 pounds.
Yeah, I'm learning as I'm going. Yeah, it was so thick that one guy told me that when you make it too thick, the roots from the corn grow into each other and it makes it fall over. It makes it not grow tall and thick. It grows spindly because it can't spread out. So, yeah.
Right.
But I was so afraid that the deer would eat it that I put down so much. I was like just cranking it out, but you can see like I didn't.
Yeah, these side roots on corn, they hold the stalk up.
Yeah. So you need to have space in between your corn stalks.
Yeah. And they, depending on who you talk to, they're starting to discover that they actually can fix nitrogen through those roots now. So,
Oh, really? Huh.
yeah, with certain bacteria. So it's important to have, like you say, a little bit of space. And what you ought to try, what I may suggest, is putting some cow peas in with your corn. Because then that'll produce nitrogen. And what the cow peas will do, they'll vine right up the corn. And then you'll have leaves and pea pods, and deer can eat that all through the summer. And then when the corn ripens, they can eat the corn.
So would you plant the peas when you put the corn in springtime?
I would.
Okay, because what I'm going to do next is come here with my little brush hog, and I'm going to brush hog this whole cornfield to get it down to dirt again, loosen the top up again this spring, and put another crop in here.
Yeah, you want to get these stalks down so that they can start rotting and getting the organic material back into the soil. But I had good luck with that one year when I had cow peas. This is how it went. I didn't do it on purpose. I did it by accident because I had cow peas one year in with a fruit plot mix, and then I put corn in. I wanted to grow sweet corn there. Put the corn in, and towards the end of the summer, I went down and checked the corn, and there was cow peas all up through it. They came all the way up. They grew to be 6 feet
Did
tall.
they get peas on it too?
You got peas all over them.
Wow, I probably will try that.
And then you can, get some nodulation and get some nitrogen,
back for the
which
corn.
will feed the corn.
Oh wow, it's like a dual purpose.
Yeah. And then just use a little bit of starter fertilizer at first. And then what a lot of farmers are doing now is they'll get their corn started. Corn doesn't compete well with other things, but if you get your corn started and you have good rows, then you can put some, and you could probably just broadcast it. Put some cover crop in, but I wouldn't do it until you have like a V3, V4 leaf stage on a corn,
High enough up.
because it really has a struggle. Now, what kind of herbicide did you spray it with?
I used Roundup to kill the field,
And that's it?
and that was it. After the field was killed, that's when I just loosened up that top. I'm telling you, it was only like a half inch is all that chain drag. Just loosened this up with.
I'm impressed. I can't believe that worked, but
Actually,
it worked.
On the outside, on the lower side of the cornfield where the sun, afternoon
It's
sun
even
shines, I planted pumpkins. So the
Oh,
whole
okay.
front of it was lined with pumpkins. And if you want to plant something for deer, plant pumpkins, because I had so many pumpkins, and after all this was dead and everything turned brown, you still have pumpkins. So the deer were coming down, and I have them on video. They're actually hitting the pumpkins, and they were eating pumpkins. That was like
you
a
can
late
smash
season.
them. And the deer will. I had a guy tell me just yesterday, it's funny you should say that, because this guy said that he would go to the Amish that grew pumpkins, because he's kind of half Amish, and he gets a whole dump trailer load of them and dumps them on his property.
Yeah,
He puts them down by the garden,
yeah.
and he actually called the game commission, and they said that's not considered bait because it is a garden and there's pumpkins.
Oh wow! So it's a food plot, not food plot feeding.
So it's a kind of a halfway bait pile.
Yeah, a lot of guys will plant like brassicas. Well, I kind of categorize pumpkins in that same kind of category as brassicas, because to me it's a late season food for the deer that I found here.
Yeah, I met some guys from Wisconsin where they can bait. I think it's Wisconsin, it's a bait state, and they use pumpkins.
Okay.
They have big piles of them out in the woods. All right, on to the next. So are you going to mow this thing?
So we do mow in between all the rows, but what I've been doing every spring is broadcasting clover. So I've been putting clover in here, and the clover's kind of coming up and taking over the grass.
Mm-hmm.
So I want it to be kind of like an extra food plot. So not only we have soft mass crops for animals, but there'll be clover for them to graze through here instead of just mowing grass. So
Yeah, and you keep the grass and the brush at bay so
Yes.
it's not just overwhelming your new planting.
yeah, so it's kind of like a dual purpose field here.
And did they give you enough to cover all the expense of planting, or did you have to go over?
Okay, so the money would be different. It's evaluated based on your property. We have 145 acres here, so they kind of there's some formula that they use to see how much money you're going to get paid for, and they divide that payment over 5 years. So you get a payment each year, and the first year, because I actually bought potted plants and not cuttings, we burned all that check up. So between the cages and the potted plants, we burned it all up. But I think that the next 4 years will probably be plus. So it's just a matter of using that money to maintain it at that point.
And then you could do some other project next year.
Yeah, so you can keep adding on, but there's a balance, because the ultimate goal is to have cattle here to do some kind of a homesteading. So we don't want to take every part of our property and put it into some kind of a reserve or some kind of program which takes it out of use for you personally. So it's a balance of how much land you want to use for yourself and how much land you want to save for the environment or for saving your waterway or buffer
And then
zone.
we're going to try to get some NRCS funding to help you get your cattle business going.
Yeah, so that's what we want to do. Yeah, up here in the big fields up on top where it's more flat, that's the property that we want to use for the grazing, rotational grazing. And we still have our food plots for all our deer. So you can kind of see the cornfield up top there.
There's a pond that's going to go in there, hopefully.
We've got I've got 4 different food plots, and I think the biggest one is 2 acres, and then the corn there is just an acre of corn food plot. So on the outskirts of the big field, I have all my food plots. The deer come right from the woods right to the food plots, and then on the hillsides close to the bottom where the trout stream is where these the programs are going to be with the state.
And then what year do you think? How old do you think this clear cut is?
We've had the property for, I think this is our 6th year, and they did it a couple years before that. I would say, so probably 8 to 10 years ago. When we bought this property, if you look further back in the history on my channel, you can see that hillside. You could see somebody walking on that hillside from the house. The bush, they totally cut it. It was not a tree left on that hillside, and the bushes were about this high, about waist high, and they left the tops there. It looked like a tornado hit that hillside. It's about 80 acres of hillside.
Yeah, and it's all growing back now.
And now it's almost woods again in less than 10 years.
Yeah, I want to go up in there and see what species are growing. I see a couple oaks right now.
They left hardly any trees on that.
But that's what you have to do to regenerate hardwood, is you got to cut it all off to let it grow back.
Okay. Yeah, we'll take a
I'd rather see a clear cut than a high grade.
Okay.
So we'll take a look at the woods, and I'm going to get somebody up here to help with the old fields, get that grass out of here. I think the thing to do is to till that, level it up with a leveler, and then we'll let it come up, and then you want to spray that. Whatever comes up, spray it, and then put something in there that's going to replace it, which usually what I recommend are multi-species cover crops to help build that soil health and build everything up. And then you can switch over. They're probably going to make you, NRCS will make you use grass more than clovers and deer food, but that's okay because we can sneak a lot of clover in with that.
Okay.
All right, so let's go up and check out the woods. Okay, so give those projects a try on your property. Hey, keep an eye out for my new website where I'm going to put my food plot course on there, one lesson at a time, so you can purchase it that way. It'd be cheaper. You can pick out what you want and just watch what you want. So I think that'll be a better way to do it. Keep an eye out for that, and watch out for future videos where we're going to talk about different projects that I have going on this spring. All right, thanks for watching.